What's up, guys? So today I'm going to discuss resumes and cover letters, which is relevant to me considering I just filled out about 15 applications for different clerkships over the next 3 years. So this has been on my brain and mind lately, and I figured maybe I should share it with you guys. So first, I'd like to discuss resumes. For the style of a resume, you can use a Word template. I think it's easier to create your own because you know specifically what looks pleasing to you. But Word templates work just as fine. Just remember that other applicants will be using those templates as well. So if you want to stand out a bit more, maybe consider making your own template for a resume. The resume should be in 12-point font. However, if you need to shorten it just a little bit so it fits onto one page, because most resumes should be 1 page long, not longer, you can change the font size to 11-point. I would not go lower than that because then it strains the reader's eye, but 11 to 12-point font, preferably 12-point, I think most employers appreciate. Once again, this resume should only be 1 page long. If you are in your 50s and you have years with different companies, with the military, with schooling, then yes, it can be 2 pages. But if you are in your 20s, even 30s, you should be able to fit all your information onto 1 page, which perhaps you have more content than really needs to be on your resume, and I'll get into that shortly. The font of the resume should be legible, which is obvious, but I know sometimes we want to be creative and show our personality through our resumes. This is a bad idea with fonts. You should stick with Times New Roman, Arial, Cambria, the basic ones. Stay away from script and Algerian. Stick with fonts where it's pleasing to the eye and easily can be read. Don't stray from that. For legal resumes, for clerkships, law school, they should be black and white. Once again, I know we want to add color to show ourselves through our resumes, but that's what the cover letter is for. That's for us to be a little bit more ourselves. The resume should be basic. We do not want to stand out for the wrong reasons. Therefore, you should not add color to any legal type of resume. For other types of resumes, I've heard employers say some color is okay. Some color is okay, as in you can change the color of your headings to something subtle like blue, maybe a dark purple. Don't use yellow. It's hard to read. I know it's a beautiful color, but your employer will not be able to read your resume. So be cautious about what colors you use if you use color. Once again, legal resumes really try to stick with that black and white. Lastly, actually we'll get into this once we get to content, which we're at content now. So at the top of your resume, there should be a heading. This heading has your first and last name, can be in bigger font than the rest of yours, but not too big font. They can read. They don't need 18-point font for just your name and then 12-point for everything else. Just make it like a size bigger if you feel the need. And then right underneath your name, you should include your address, which some people think they can leave this off. Do not do that. Some employers like to send their offers via mail, so make sure to include an accurate address that the employer can use. Also include your phone number and a professional email. When I say professional email, I mean one that has your name as the domain. Do not use like funkychicken@gmail.com. Use something that's more professional. Under that, you can go 2 routes. I typically stick with, so heading, school experience, and then experience, but you can switch school and experience, and I'll discuss that right now. When you go with school first, you should put your undergraduate degrees, any graduate degrees. If you have more than an associate's degree, you probably should not put high school, especially if it's been more than 5 years. However, if you do just have a high school diploma or you have an associate's degree, then yes, include your high school diploma under education. When you put experience before education, it is typically because you only have a high school diploma and you have experience that directly relates to this position that you really want to emphasize. In that case, yes, you can put experience before education. I find a lot of employers, however, prefer employees with degrees or working towards a degree related to the field they're applying for. So I always go with education first, but you know yourself, if you really have experience that you want to emphasize, then put that before education. Under the education section, you should have the school you went to, the degree you received from it, and the dates you attended. And then you should include any awards you received, like a top paper if you were the person who had 100% on something in a class that's related to this field. Put that in there. You can put different class types. For instance, if you got a bachelor's degree and you have classes that you took for a minor or just outside of your degree because you changed your degree later on, include those classes in classes taken. This should be short. It shouldn't take up half the page, but let them know that you have some accomplishments from your degree, whether you've earned it or you're still attaining it. Also include GPA. A lot of employers look for this. Don't feel too self-conscious about this, however, because this will not make or break you in most cases. They will value your experience over a GPA. For most employers, you never know 100% though. Everyone's different. However, you should include your GPA though. Now onto the experience section. So when you list your experience, if you have more than one past job that you want to put, you should put it in chronological order. It looks kind of sloppy and unorganized if you put them in like an order that you think is relevant. Like, oh, this one from 3 years ago is more relevant than the one I did last year, but the one before last year is the least relevant, so I'll put that last. It just gets clunky and it doesn't look very organized. So go in chronological order. If you have more than 3 experiences or more experience that fills up more than a page, perhaps you should cut some that's not relevant for the position you're applying for. And if you do have space to spare on your resume, put your experience. I know some people would feel like, oh, they don't want to know I worked at Walmart for, this for a year. Employers want to know every job you've had, because every job provides some skill that likely is applicable to the position you're applying for. You should, for when you're putting your experience on there, for each one, you should put the company it was for, your position there, and how long you were there for. And then under that, you should put the responsibilities you had, what duties you had, what was your job. This can normally be found if you look at the previous position you've held. If you look at current applications in the job description, they'll say what your tasks are. Normally, that should align with your resume experience because you perform those tasks. You should also list any awards you got. I'm not saying just any type of award for any job you've had, but if you got Employee of the Year or top sales representative or something saying that you excelled greater than everybody else in that company, then yes, you should put that award. But don't worry if you don't have them. A lot of people don't have special awards under their experience. And lastly, under experience, I know we can feel like internships don't belong there. They do. An internship is experience. However, if you have multiple jobs and multiple internships, you can create a section on your resume after experience for volunteer and internships. You don't have to separate them. It might be a good idea though. I know I personally do separate the two because I have experience in quite a lot of different places. But you can put internships under just general experience because it is experience. It's like a job. That is all I have for the experience section of your resume. Now remember, you've gone from heading to education and experience, or flip the two, it's fine. Next you have references, which you don't have to put them on your resume. You can create a separate document for references. If you have a lot of experience and you've already taken up a page, do not make a separate page on your resume for references. Create a separate document, and on that document, use the same heading that you used for your resume, and then list 3 to 5 previous employers. There should be one page as well. Put the name of the reference, the company they worked for or work for, and their position there, and contact information for them, like a phone number or an email address. Include both if you have them both. And then in one sentence, describe your relationship with them. This person was my previous teacher. This person I worked directly underneath at this company. Something like that. If you have references on your resume because you have the room for it, which is totally fine, you're not going to write your relationship with them. It probably will just be their name, their position at a company, and then a phone number or email. That's really all for content of a resume. Just to recap though, the resume should not be creative. I don't mean you can't put, any little touch about yourself, but it should be very bland. It's professional. You're not trying to stick out because you can look pretty. You're sticking out because you have the experience this employer wants, because you have the education this employer wants. If you fear that you're lacking in those, you're still not going to get creative on your resume. That is what the cover letter is for, which we will get into now. So first, a cover letter is used as a one-page document. It's a letter to the interviewer or the hiring manager on why they should choose you for this position and why you like them. Cover letters and letters of interest, I've seen both required for applications. Not both at the same time, but each application I've seen some require cover letters, some require a letter of interest. I just want to clarify that these two documents are pretty much identical from what I've read and stuff. A letter of interest can be different. For instance, if you're applying to a place that's not hiring, but you want to work with them or for them, then you will use a letter of interest, which is just saying, I know you're not hiring now, but in the future, if you do hire, I want to be the first applicant you consider. The content is still going to be pretty much identical to the cover letter, which we will get into now. So for the cover letter, the first off the top should have the same heading as your resume and your references. Like copy and paste that. So then they know these 3 documents all go together. And then from there, either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, I prefer the left-hand side of the document, but it's up to you. This is going to be an address block for the employer. So with this, you're going to put the date that you are applying, and then you're going to put the name of the person interviewing you or the hiring manager, whatever name you can find for the person who will be reading this. You should put their name. Then you should include their position. For instance, I'm applying to clerkships. I put attorney underneath the name. And then underneath that position, include the company that they work for, which is the company that you're applying to. And then put the address of the company. I know they know their own address, but it's what they like. So include that. Then you're going to do a greeting, just a simple dear, and then use that same name that you put up in that address block. Next, the actual content aspect of the cover letter, there should be 3 paragraphs. This is all on one page, so don't feel intimidated by this. It's 3 pretty small paragraphs. The first one is going to be why you're interested in the company. For each place I apply to, I like to go to their website and see what they value about themselves. Some value fast service for their customers, some value diversity in the company. It really varies. So find something that you appreciate that they emphasize on their website and include it in there. So then they know that you really are serious about this, that you've taken time to get to know them, and now they should get to know you. In the second paragraph, this is where you're going to boast about yourself. You're going to tell them, hey, because your company focuses on this, you need a dedicated and passionate intern. This is how I fit those 2 traits. And then you can just go more in depth on some things that they can find in your resume, like a position or a degree you have. For this paragraph, I really like to emphasize that you should put 1 or 2 traits that you are trying to show that you have. 2 traits that you know that this employer would greatly value, and then use evidence to support that by saying, hey, I show my dedication through my previous position at this place because I worked long hours and yada yada yada. Those are those 2 paragraphs. And then the third one, very quick, it's just a conclusion one saying thank you for taking time to read this. I always include, I look forward to hearing when you'd like to meet at your earliest convenience, or something along those lines. Kind of put that idea in their head that, yeah, you're going to meet with me because of this letter. I mean, don't be too upfront about it, but say, let me know when is, the best time to meet. And then re-put your email and phone number. I know you put them on all 3 documents at the very top, but you really want it to be accessible to them on how to contact you. After that paragraph, really it's just your signature. Sincerely put your name, and under your name put your position. Like, I'm a Juris Doctorate candidate, and I'll put that under there. You'll put biology major, class of whatever, or if it's a job, put sales manager, whatever. Put your title underneath your signature. And then that is the conclusion of your cover letter. And then that's the conclusion of this video. I know it's long, but resumes and cover letters can be very intimidating, and everyone knows that. These tips can be generally applied to multiple positions, not just legal ones. And I hope that you will take them into consideration. I really want to see people do well, but you can't do that if you don't even get a chance at the position. So you need to take your resumes and cover letters very seriously, because your employers are, and they do care about them, and they care about grammar and punctuation and what you have on them. So good luck to anyone applying for clerkships or applying to graduate school, or even for your undergraduate degree. Good luck to everyone applying for something more and improving their experience. With that, that's all I have, so I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.